Welcome to the Cathedral of Swimming in the United States. It's the IU Natatorium, and for the first time in American Athletic Conference history, the conference championships being contested here in Indianapolis. We get a look here automatically at what we're going to see here in day one. A couple relays on both sides, and we'll get the diving underway as well. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brendan Gulick alongside Joel Elber, who swam professionally, swam for the Buckeyes, and now he's coaching here locally. We're thrilled to have you alongside for our coverage this week. It's going to be a long week, my friend. So let's kind of dive right in. This should be a fun first day because everybody's revved up. The adrenaline's high.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be exciting racing. I mean, these kids have been looking forward to this day all year long. This is what they've been training for, and we're excited to see some fast swimming.
I think we're going to see some fun relays, and the diving is already off to a really good start this afternoon. In the meantime, for an in-depth preview of the entire conference meet, let's head back to Haley Outen.
The 2019 American Swimming and Diving Championships are headed to Indianapolis for the first time in conference history, as the IUPUI Natatorium will serve as the home of this year's title meet. The American will crown champions in 42 events over the next 4 days. The Houston women will look to win a third consecutive title, while the Cincinnati men will aim to follow up their first American championship from a year ago. 14 men's and women's individual champions from last year's conference meet return to defend their titles this week in Indy. 15 NCAA B-cut times belong to 10 different athletes on the men's side. ECU swam for the most B-standard times in the conference this season with 6. The Pirates have won 3 conference championships and have been the runner-up twice since joining the American. 13 women representing 5 teams from around the American have combined to swim 21 NCAA B-standard marks in 2019. Houston has accounted for the most with 11, while the SMU women own 6. 4 returning conference champions from Houston combined for 6 titles this season, including 6-time gold medalist Zarina Brown. Brown will look to bring home more hardware in the freestyle and relay events. However, she'll have some help around her with 11 podium finishers from last year's championship team competing this week. The SMU women will look to get back on track after placing outside of the top 2 for the first time last season. SMU returned 6 all-conference athletes, including 2 of the league's defending individual champions in Andrea Podmanikova in the 200 breaststroke and Erin Trahan in the 100 butterfly. The Mustang women took home the conference title in 2015 and 2016. On the men's side for Cincinnati, Hans Kabelka and Dominic Poling are the 2 returning individual gold medalists from last year's squad. The Bearcats, along with UConn and ECU, each have 7 all-conference returners. The Pirates will look to 2-time defending 100 butterfly champion Gustavo Santos, as well as the 2018 100 and 200 breaststroke champion Jacek Arantewicz. For the Huskies, junior Will Kersey returns after winning the Americans 100 and 200 backstroke races twice. Let's take a quick look at what to expect on the diving front. With 3 2018 conference champions returning and numerous athletes meeting the NCAA zone diving standards on the women's side, we expect it to be a battle. The returning conference champions include 1-meter diver Claire Shorman of Cincinnati, 3-meter diver Lauren Burrell of Houston, and platform diver Patricia Roscoe, also from Cincinnati. However, all 3 of these athletes will have to look out for UConn grad student Monica Marcello, who holds the top dives in each of these events this season. Marcello, who missed last season with an injury, is back and ready to contend. The Huskies own 4 of the top 10 1-meter scores in the league, while 4 Houston divers rank top 10 in the American heading into the 3-meter competition. The Americans' men's 1 and 3-meter titles have gone to SMU for the past 5 championships, but there could be a new champion this year with no returning diving title winners in this year's meet. 3 men from around the league have met the NCAA 1-meter zone diving standards, with SMU's Parker Hardigree leading the league. ECU's Luke Stivers owns the only NCAA 3-meter zone diving qualifying mark this year, and UConn's Tori Wagner owns the Americans' top platform score this season. Don't forget you can tune in to all 4 days of prelim and finals action live on the American Digital Network on Facebook. Also, for updates and wraparound coverage, head to Twitter and follow American_swim or visit theamerican.org/swimdive.
Bernie scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable.
And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
Or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right. There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents.
Officials,
Student athletes.
coaches, and team representatives. Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments, profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Just about ready to get started tonight. The national anthem has concluded. The vibe inside the natatorium starting to pick up a little bit. Everybody can sense the championship finals are just about to begin. We've got a quick minute, so why don't we head on down to the third member of our broadcast crew. Check in with Vince Egan. Good evening, Vince.
Good evening, guys. Beautiful venue here in downtown Indianapolis, the IUPUI Natatorium that has hosted so many great events in the past, and the city has, from the Indianapolis 500 to the Super Bowl a few years ago. Indianapolis is world-renowned now for their ability to host the big event as we get close to the women's 800-yard freestyle relay here momentarily. It's going to be a great 4 days, and I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely a championship city, and on an even bigger stage, they've got the NFL Combine here in town this week, so there's always a lot going in. We'll check in with Vince throughout the evening. We're about to have the introductions for the very first event of the evening, and it is the women's 800-yard freestyle relay. The defending champion Houston Cougars set the conference championship meet record last year. They've got 3 of the 4 returning swimmers. Man, I think you look at this, you look at this particular event, and I think it's a fun one to start the meet with.
It certainly is. 800 free relay is always one of the most exciting races, just because there can be so much change from the beginning to the end of the race. There's each athlete has a 200 worth of swimming. It's the longest relay event offered in NCAAs, and it's just an exciting way to start the day.
We're going to have the introductions coming momentarily, but I think it's safe to say that the University of Houston with Mackenzie Leahy and Zarina Brown swimming on the bookends are probably the favorites here this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. I think going into this race, you're looking for a really strong lead-off leg, and Leahy can absolutely deliver that.
First time all day that we finally heard some noise inside the natatorium. And we're just about ready to rock. We'll tell you who's in the pool once they dive in, but the Houston Cougars are favorites in lane 4. All right, lane 2, we've got East Carolina University, Tulane in lane 3, Houston lane 4, Cincinnati Bearcats in lane 5, UConn in lane 6, and the SMU ladies in lane 7. It's Mariana Lippert-Vignoli for ECU, Samantha Morton, a freshman from Tulane, of course Mackenzie Leahy in lane 4 for Houston, Madeline Exton for Cincinnati in lane 5, Ryan Delaney, a really good swimmer for UConn in lane 6, and Olivia Grosskloss in lane 7 for SMU.
Out to a fast start already, taking it out at 25 flat in the middle of the pool is Leahy. Is exactly what she needs to do to lead things off, really get the crowd energized and her teammates energized. You know, with the championship meet and the way this is formatted, it's really critical to have some energy early. You know, it's a 3-day meet, it's a prelim finals styles of a session, and you know, if it starts off flat, it could be really hard to come back from that. Having a relay kick things off, and especially for the Houston ladies, having one that they should really dominate in will be really beneficial for them moving forward.
I think what was so fun last year in the women's and men's 800, and then in the women's and men's 200 medley relay, we had 4 different schools that finished as champions. So it kind of gave the entire meet that really cool vibe at the beginning because everybody felt like they were right in it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, you can see it, you can't see it on the screen now, but, you know, the fans are jumping up and down. The swimmers are jumping up and down. You know, if you don't think that swimmers in the water can see you, you're wrong, especially in a freestyle event. They know what's happening, and it's they can really feed off of each other. Going here into that first leg, Leahy out in a 146.5, which is exactly what they need to be on pace to get that A cut.
UConn in second place, SMU in third, followed by Cincinnati, ECU, and Tulane. Now in the pool for the Cougars in lane 4, it's Samantha Medlin. In lane 5 for Cincinnati, Sydney St. Rose Finier. UConn has Megan Wedman in lane 6. Lane 7, Madison Kinsey for SMU. Lane 3 for Tulane, Courtney Barker, and freshman Shannon Stott racing in lane 2 for East Carolina. But right now, Houston several lengths out in front.
Yeah, and a great leadoff leg out of UConn. We'll see if Megan can hold on to that lead and try and chip away a little bit at that Houston lead. But really, really nice swimming here early out of all these teams. And as you can see this race develop, there's going to be more and more separation and a little bit of play here and there. And you can really see some people in this race sort of take form as it continues to go.
Now this particular foursome for Cincinnati, even though they didn't get off to the great opening leg, Cincinnati actually qualified with the second best time in the conference this year, 7 minutes 19.8 seconds. So perhaps the Bearcats a little bit more backloaded as the Cougars continue to maintain first place, followed closely there somewhat by UConn and then Cincinnati in third.
Absolutely. You know, and as there's a really close race of brewing everywhere on this pool deck, and lane 2 and 3 have a nice battle going on here, and that's what you want to see in an 800 free relay. You know, Houston has their work cut out for them, and there's Serena on the screen there after a great first leg. Really excited as the third leg goes in.
Third leg on the way in, and for the University of Houston, they are way out in front. Morgan Rosas, she is the only swimmer of the 4 in this relay that's new to the relay after the school set the conference record last year. In lane 2 for East Carolina, Morgan Despres. For Tulane in lane 3, Isabel Pelka. We mentioned Rosas in lane 4. Lane 5, Sarah Lobbs, who goes by Rocky. She's swimming for the Bearcats. Madeline Blair, the senior for UConn in lane 6. Gabriella Grobler in lane 7 for SMU. It is still all Houston right now, but you're seeing UConn make a little bit more of a push. Cincinnati and SMU giving second place a bit of a run, and right now Tulane and ECU fading just a bit.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is we're definitely seeing some ground being made up on UConn, and they're going to be in a race here at the end of this relay. And it's something definitely to watch out for. Something you said earlier, Brendan, is we have a lot of youth in this pool right now, and a lot of youth swimming on a big stage. You know, the Houston relay team, as you said, is returning 3 of their 4 members from last year, which you know, is a huge advantage for them certainly. But a lot of freshmen and sophomores making up this field.
Houston in really good shape right now. They need 7:06.19 for a B cut, 7:02.52 for an A cut. That B cut would be a new conference record. We'll keep our eye on the Cougars as the dangerous 6-time gold medalist Zarina Brown gets ready to dive back in the pool. Houston way out front, 4th swimmers on their way in, and it's still the Cougars out front. Right now, UConn in second place, and Tulane has actually come much closer as Michelle Zelnick dives in the pool for the Green Wave. Jacqueline Van Loo in there for UConn in lane 6. Eliana Yellen swimming in lane 7 for SMU. It's Olivia Schmelzer for Cincinnati, and up in lane 2, East Carolina has Victoria Gillett.
And now something to watch out for is really how they're attacking these races. You know, there's a race within the race. A 200 is a significant toll on the body. It's not a drop-dead sprint, but it's certainly nothing aerobic. And when you're watching these races, some girls have a strategy of really getting out after it quick, and then some of them are certainly more of a back half of their 200 race. What I really love on this Houston is the amount of distance she gets off this wall. You can see when she does her flip turn, she has those great underwater kicks, really explodes off that wall nicely, and has excellent acceleration as she's breaking the surface of the water.
Well, you can see some of these results coming top left corner of your screen. Houston certainly in good shape, but Tulane swimming a really nice race right now. Bearcats are trying to hang tough. UConn, SMU doing the same. ECU right now is in 6th place. This appears to be Houston's race to lose, but as you look at the beginning of this race, or I should say the beginning of the meet, you start thinking about the team points that are at stake.
Sure.
And it's important to try to come in 2nd and 3rd if you can.
Absolutely, and every point in a meet like this matters. This is what really matters here is depth, and everyone's team's ability to score multiple races.
All right, Houston in 7-11-17, so it's not quite their best mark. Tulane goes 2nd, UConn 3rd, the Bearcats 4th, SMU and East Carolina will round things out. It was pretty much UH out front the whole way in the middle of the pool, and the Cougars off to a great start. They are back-to-back champs in this event.
Yeah, it's a great accomplishment, and it's one of those things where you have a tradition to uphold, and these girls have done a really, really nice job of doing that.
Second time in conference history, and of course second consecutive win for the Houston Cougars in the women's 800-yard freestyle relay.
So here's a recap of the 800 free relay. That leadoff leg, like we said, was so important to get out into a lead and really set the tone for the rest of that relay.
Yeah, you could pretty much see, even right from the get-go, Mackenzie Leahy kind of did what the team expected her to do. And it's not like Medlin and Rosas aren't capable of swimming a good race, but when you've got the caliber of Leahy and of course, Zarina Brown on either end of it, you kind of expect that if you're a Cougar fan that this was going to go your way.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's that third exchange. Again, great turns, great underwaters. When you watch these races, it's really the team that is with the best details and has those things locked in are usually the ones that are going to pull away here.
So you get a look at the Cougars, who are victorious, and Vince Egan, who's on camera there. He's about to be on camera again with Zarina Brown. We're going to wait to check in with them momentarily. Of course, the men's 800-yard freestyle relay will be the next event on our docket tonight. We've also got women's 1-meter diving, men's 3-meter diving, and the women's and men's 200-yard medley relay. Those are the 6 events we'll complete here on day 1 of 4. As you get a look at the Houston Cougars, they appear to be in fairly good spirits. Maybe not quite the time they wanted, but still a victory. We go down to Vince Egan, who's standing by with one of the Cougars.
Serena, not quite the time you wanted, but still wire to wire there.
Yeah, we were really excited, a little bit nervous, but I think the adrenaline helped us a little bit. We had a girl that's never been on our 800 free relay, so she went 3rd and she did great, so we were really excited about it.
How does something like that happen where she comes in this late?
Okay, so there were 4 or 5 girls fighting for that spot, and she ended up figuring out last night she was on it, and she was a little scared, but we were like, hey, this is going to be a great relay. You're with us. We're a team. Nobody's going to get left behind, so I think she kind of started to, not be as nervous.
Could you tell that any nerves there during the race with her?
Yeah, she's a very outgoing and extrovert, and behind over here in the curtain, she wasn't saying anything, and I was like, you're going to be fine. We're going to do great. We've trained all year. This is going to be awesome.
Well, congratulations on your win.
Thank you so much.
Send it back upstairs.
I think that's such a great point. Obviously, what Zarina has accomplished is impressive, and yet it's her leadership, her ability to take a new teammate on, and they won the race. I think that's going to be key for Houston as they try to win again here this year.
It is key, and in this style of meet and a championship style of meet, leadership and experience and being able to bring your teammates up to that level and show that sort of confidence as you move forward through this meet is going to be humongous. And the Houston girls have certainly measured up on that first relay and can hopefully do it some more.
Of course, Houston, the back-to-back champions on the ladies' side. Last year, the team champion, the Cincinnati Bearcats. They were able to knock off the then three-time defending champion Pirates from East Carolina. So we'll see if Cincinnati can win their second consecutive, and Houston as a team looking for their third consecutive team championship. So the divers are warming up in the diving well off to our right. Just beyond those banners, you get the UH with the prime location, as they so deserve. What a perfect venue, and I anticipate that this is going to be so much fun. You know, it was cool to talk with the coaches here this week, and almost to a man or to a woman, they mentioned how they were excited to compete in a neutral venue. And it's nothing against the facilities that UH and SMU have. They were great, and they were great hosts. But to compete on something that is truly not a home pool advantage is going to be awesome.
Without a doubt. And there is something special about that. And there's something special about this building.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, and you look on the wall right behind on the platforms, there's lists of Olympic teams that have qualified in this pool. It's a really special place, not only for swimmers, but really for Americans in general. This is something that is really an important piece of history, and it maintains today. There's a list, and there's some of those names that I was talking about as they qualified for those Olympic teams starting in 1984. You get your name enshrined here permanently on this wall in this amazing venue, and to be a part of it as an athlete is something really, really special.
You know, one of my favorite parts about the names on that wall, the beautiful calligraphy.
Oh yeah,
it's so well done, and I think it looks better than if they were just to be printed on the wall. I think there's something really touching about that.
Without a doubt, and it is all hand done. And they did redo it again. The original ones, when they redid this building a couple years ago, there was a lot of renovation that happened here, and then came back and redid it all, and it looks just amazing.
So you're starting to see some of those recognized on the podium. Again, UConn coming in third, Ryan Delaney, Megan Wenman, Madeline Blair, and Jacqueline Van Loo. In second place, those are the women from Tulane, Samantha Morton, Courtney Barker, Isabel Pelka, and Michelle Zelnick. And the Houston Cougars, your 2019 800-yard freestyle relay champions. Mackenzie Leahy, Samantha Medlin, Morgan Rosas, and Zarina Brown.
And that's head coach from the Tulane team, Leah Stansel. She is a first-year coach handing out that award tonight. Congratulations to those Houston ladies.
Tulane and UConn look pretty fired up too, even though they weren't winners, but the gold there on the top of the podium for UH.
And that's the cool thing about this sport as well is, you know, if you're throwing down some awesome times and times that you haven't done all year, it gets really exciting really fast. And so those are other things to really look at is, you know, how much time have we dropped from the middle of the season till now, or individually and personally, how much better can I get? And you'll see those small victories throughout this day and throughout this weekend, and it's an exciting piece of this sport and something that's fairly unique to swimming.
Tulane with a nice showing, and I think maybe that was, I don't want to call it necessarily a surprise, but perhaps a better start for them than they had maybe anticipated.
Yeah, like a little outside smoke. I love it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the men's 800-yard freestyle relay just getting underway at the 2019 American Athletic Conference Swimming and Diving Championships.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly, we've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further, let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express, every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same. The chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows. Every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
This is a classroom.
This is a lab.
This is a study break. This is our backyard. This is home.
This is Yukon.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud. Be bold. Be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are Boldly Bearcat.
So our divers getting ready to go. Of course, the men's 3-meter and the women's 1-meter diving board championships here on day 1. And we'll give you some updates from the divers along the way. But we will at least have the men's 800-yard freestyle relay before we switch over to diving competition. They're just getting ready to rock. That had to hurt. I'm not sure that one felt particularly good.
And that's why they call it practice,
That's right. When you're in practice, you have a little more room for flexibility.
Guess so.
But so far, so good. And in the pool, obviously, we had a competitive race outside of Houston winning. I thought the times 2, 3, 4 all pretty close. And I think the reason why Tulane was so happy, able to look it up in the meantime, they beat their season best by 9 seconds. I mean, they just slaughtered it. So that's kind of what you're hoping for, right? Get to this level and swim your best times.
Absolutely. And that's a huge number. I mean, 9 seconds in any race and in a relay like this, I mean, that means those girls were averaging over 2 seconds drop individually on those relays. So huge swim out of them. They were super excited on that podium. That's what you love to see. There's the Houston coach right there waving to the fans.
Ryan Wakamerka pretty happy, 1 for 1 on his start. At the introductions for the men's 800 freestyle relay will start at 5:23, and the women's 1-meter finalists, the standings are being announced to those here in the natatorium. We'll lay out here for our public address system.
Your defending champion from the University of Cincinnati, Claire Schurman. From the University of Houston, Katie Denninger. The University of Connecticut, Elizabeth Drab. From SMU, Catherine Crown. And your top seed for our women's 1-meter championship for the University of Connecticut, Monica Marcello. Introducing now the men's 3-meter championship. From the University of Cincinnati, Dylan Porter. From the University of Cincinnati, Ty Sims. The University of Connecticut, Tori Wagner. From ECU, Gavrilo Bladen. University of Connecticut's Kyle Kennedy. From ECU, Devin Nugent. From SMU, Parker Hardigree. And your top seed, the University of Cincinnati, Louis Hunt. Those are our divers for our women's 1 meter and our men's 3 meter championship finals tonight.
All right, so they've just introduced the women's and men's diving finalists for today. And in just a minute, we'll turn it over for the introductions for the men's 800-yard freestyle relay. Everybody's getting ready and lined up. Of course, as much fun as the women's event is, the men's event always entertaining as well. They're about to be paraded in. Favorite in this race? Well, I think it's going to be a pretty competitive race. You'd probably look at the Bearcats, though, I would think, as the top-seeded team as they make their way to the pool.
Yeah, I think so. You know, they have a 6-second seed time here, lead over East Carolina and the rest of the field. So, you know, you like to see hopefully somebody comes up and gives them a challenge. You know, it's always more exciting that way, and that produces faster swimming. When they're in races and you have somebody that's right next to you and you're battling for something, you always get the best out of the swimmers.
Well, the Bearcats, the defending champs in this event, and none of the young men that swam that event last year were seniors. So they bring everybody back to an 800-yard freestyle event that might see them go back-to-back. Obviously, that's the goal. They would love to do that.
Yep.
Last year, the results in this particular event were something of an omen for the team results. In fact, it's been that way every year. The winner of this event, the school that wins the men's 800-yard freestyle relay, the first 5 years in the conference championships, that school has gone on to win the whole thing.
Isn't that interesting?
All right, the Mustangs from SMU in lane 3, the Bearcats in lane 4, ECU lane 5, UConn lane 6. Off we go. Matan Segal in lane 3. Justin Cruz swimming for Cincinnati in lane 4. Marek Osina, a really good freshman swimmer from ECU, is in lane 5. And Emils Gustav Jursik from UConn in lane 6.
We got a couple freshmen there in lane 5 and 6 leading things out. We'll see what they can do on their first showing here at their conference championship. We have a great first 50, a couple 22s there all the way across the board, but a great first 50 there in lane 6. We'll see how he holds on throughout the rest of this race.
Well, so far so good. UConn really likes their positioning. Cincinnati good as well. They all pretty much hit the wall right around the same time.
And if you're looking at the standards, at the A standard and the B standard, you want to be right around 135s here. So they're out in a good time. They're going to have to bring it back pretty well here to kind of set the tone there for that coveted A cut.
Cincinnati has pulled out front. UConn in second place. ECU and SMU closely trailing. So important to hit your turns well in a relay event.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's 7 turns that each person has to do here, and those add up. You know, if you're a little off here and there, those times and those turns will certainly add up. You know, as you watch these guys take these relay exchanges, you'll notice that for an 800 freestyle relay, they'll leave a little bit of time on the block. Make sure that there's no question about being disqualified because it is a longer race. And, you know, if you're pushing it and you false start, it's really not worth that 1/10 of a second that you're going to have in an 800 freestyle relay. So you'll see the starts be a little bit safer here and mostly make up all that time in the pool.
The championship meet record belongs to Louisville way back in 2014 at the inaugural American Athletic Conference Championships. Cincinnati in good shape right now. Carson Klein swimming for SMU. Alexander Fortman, a junior for Cincinnati. Pietro Nanucci, a freshman for ECU. And it's Josh Roblewski in lane 6 for UConn.
Yeah, and Cincinnati looks really comfortable here. Super long stroke out of this young man. And really, you could see those legs churning nicely and really doing a nice job of keeping it nice and long. We'll see if a few schools can catch up a little bit and really make this a race.
It does look like UConn is closing a little bit of space here. Huskies in lane 6 putting together a good race. They are just a tick behind, less than half a second.
Great second legs here out of ECU and UConn, really bringing it back, and SMU. This is turning out to be a great race.
Bearcats like what they have in their final leg with Dean Selmanovic, but Tobias Van Dyke, the sophomore for the Bearcats, gets ready to go next. UConn sends Alfred Hansen into the pool. 1-2 off they go. Grega Popovich and Matthew Nutter swimming for ECU and for SMU. What's that adrenaline rush like when you're on a relay team and you get that first opportunity to dive in the pool?
Oh, man, there's nothing like it. You know, you're doing it for your teammates, and it's just a lot more fun when you're on a relay, you know, and especially leading things off and really trying to set the tone. You know, people respond in different ways and get excited in different ways, but it's really hard not to be excited for your teammates and really show your best when you're on a relay like this coming into a championship.
SMU's made a good push here the last, I would say, 200 yards. They've moved from 4th to 3rd place.
And it looks like they're up to 2nd now.
Yeah, they sure are after a really nice turn.
Really nice turn. And that's, again, what you want to see is can they execute those turns and maintain speed off walls, especially when they're getting tired. You know, at the end of these legs and at the end of their race, can they maintain that integrity? Can they still jump off walls, hold that tight streamline, get those kicks off the walls and maintain that speed? You know, and the people that do that best are usually going to prevail in a race like this.
I love the way you put it earlier. It's not straight sprint, but it certainly is an aerobic.
Oh, no.
And you've got guys out there that by the end of their legs pretty much feel like their legs are concrete.
Yep.
We'll see what they're made of. The Bearcats right now with a full-length lead, then SMU, then ECU, and UConn has faded into 4th. Final leg into the pool, Dean Selmanovic for the Bearcats. Lucas Schenke, a senior for SMU. Blas Demsar for East Carolina, and Carl Bishop swimming for the Huskies.
Yeah, we're looking really at Lucas here, the senior for SMU. Can he catch? Can he make up that ground here? Out right really fast here, 21.7. 21.3 out of ECU, so a lot of great first 50 speed. They're excited trying to chase down that Cincinnati team.
Cincinnati's best time this season, 6:31.75. ECU's best time is 6:43.98. SMU's best time, 6:46.19. Those are the top 3 qualifiers for the conference championships. And right now, the Bearcats have almost put this thing on cruise control.
Yeah, they have. And, you know, the work's not done. We've seen crazier things happen. But, you know, you have a junior at the back end of this. And, you know, he's not going to let this go.
Selmanovic way out front. But a good battle between Schenke in lane 3 and lane 5 Demsar right now for 2nd and 3rd place. Valuable team points at stake.
Absolutely. And every point matters. When you score, all these relays are scoring, you know, and you score the top 16 swimmers, you know, and you're talking about a few points here and there, those add up over the course of the weekend. So this is a big time race, and the fans and the athletes know it.
Bearcats have put together a really impressive number. They easily win it, 6:25-27. Your conference champion, Cincinnati, followed by East Carolina, out-touching SMU. UConn finishes in 4th, but the Bearcats love it. 6:25-27. Not quite a beat cut, but by far their best mark of the season.
And what a last 50 by Demsar there. Outsplit the SMU final swimmer by over a second coming home, or just at a second coming home. Awesome last 50. And here you go, leading things off. You know, it was a tight race, and Cincinnati came out to an early lead, and that's exactly what you want to do. You know, you got to get out in that clean water, set the tone for the race, especially in an 800 free relay.
How much of this is the comfort of getting in your own rhythm versus actually kind of watching the guys beside you and trying to gauge where you're at?
You know what? me personally, and it's different for everyone, you know, I love the purity of racing. I love the purity of this sport that, you know, I am going to beat you. And so, you know, that is the exciting part of swimming, when you can stand up on that block and you can see what you're made of. You know, and some people, they can't think that way. They have to focus on their own lane. And that's not to say that, you know, if you're racing somebody else, you're not focused. But the purity of the race is beautiful.
I love the way you put that. Sometimes you can't take the competitor out of the competition.
Absolutely.
So the Bearcats start the meet with a victory on the men's side. They are fired up. Boy, their body language says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, hopefully we see some more of that this whole weekend.
Mandy Commons-DeSalle, the head coach for Cincinnati. Some high fives for her student athletes. And again, if you missed the note earlier, for whatever it's worth, the school that has won the men's 800-yard freestyle relay has gone on.
With that 800 free relay, it is a great indicator. You know, when you talk about what it takes to have a great 800 free relay, that's 4 guys that are training at a really, really high level, that have a lot of speed, but can back it up with some maintenance there as well. And so when you put that all together, it is a great indication of what their makeup is and the way they've been training all year.
Really thought it was a pretty good race all the way around. You got your first place team and your last place team separated by 6 seconds. So maybe between Cincinnati and UConn, perhaps that wasn't quite the way they drew it up. But I really thought the meat of the race was pretty competitive, and hopefully a precursor for what we're looking for the rest of the way. All right, we'll have our podium ceremony coming up. Maybe check in with one of those Bearcat victors as well. Cincinnati wins the first men's race of the meet here this weekend.
How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud. Be bold. Be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are Boldly Bearcat.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it, or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Powerful minds, strong in mind,
strong in body.
The American is dedicated
to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see, then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help. End the stigma.
.46, ECU.
That music.
And your gold medalists with a finals time of 6:25:27. Justin Crew, Alexander Fortman, Tobias Van Dyke, and Din Selmanovic. Now two-time defending champions, the University of Cincinnati.
So congratulations to the Bearcats. They earned that place on the top of the podium. Really impressive race. Absolutely. Maybe not the way that SMU would have liked to see them finish in third place, but I thought they closed pretty well.
Yeah, they closed really well, and we had some great splits on that relay. You know, Cincinnati, Din coming home, and a 1:35.3, really fast swim there. And ECU, again, we already talked about how their back end, Blaise Desmar, he really did a nice job coming back in a 1:35.7. So two excellent splits, and that's really what you want to see from your leaders on that team.
So the 800-yard freestyle relay champions. On the ladies' side, it's the Houston Cougars. On the men's side, the Cincinnati Bearcats. And we are hoping to check in with Justin Crew, one of the seniors and one of the captains for the Bearcats from Cincinnati. So we'll send it down to Vince Egan in just a second. But in the meantime, it's always fun to have some podium ceremonies, especially early when you get up on that podium early in a meet. Probably sets a pretty good tone.
Absolutely does, and that's what you want to keep that momentum going, and hopefully we can see some of that.
All right, we're ready to go down to Vince, who is standing by with the captain, Justin Crew, whose Bearcats just won it.
Justin, you have to be happy with that time, second best in conference history.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we love that relay. All four of those guys right there, some of the best guys I could train with, some of the best guys I know. I wouldn't want it any other way, especially with these guys. We put in a lot of work this year, and to be able to come out on top again this year, it's really just everything we work for all year. So
you led off, and things got off to a great start.
Oh yeah, I was on that first leg last year, and it worked well for us. And you know, I'm just happy to give those guys a little bit of a lead, and they were able to extend that lead. So, you know, just can't say enough about the other guys on that relay. So,
what can you contribute the time to today?
That was a personal best for me. All those other guys, that was some of the best splits. I think Alex Fortman split like 2 seconds faster than he's ever been. Tobias the same way. And I didn't see Dean split, but he's just an incredible swimmer, and I'm sure he threw down something that was just insane. So, you know, just so proud of those guys and really happy senior year, be able to walk off on the top of that podium again. It's really something special.
Justin, congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks.
Well, the Bearcats, again, off to a good start. And if you missed the note earlier, Cincinnati trying to go back-to-back as team champions. They do go back-to-back in what many argue is one of the better relays in the entire competition. Certainly the longest one, really tests the depth of the team. You heard Justin Crew mention that he led off last year and liked being in that position, and it certainly worked out well with a terrific time.
Yeah, and it's always important, especially when you're talking about big bodies in the pool, to have a lead. You know, we're in water. There are waves, and you know that has an effect, especially on this relay. As you look in the pool, and you can see it on the screen now, there's those double lane lines, and that is there to sort of buffer some of that wave action. But you know, when you're talking about big boys swimming a 200 freestyle and swimming in general, they're going to throw some water there, and getting that nice clean water out in front where you're not worrying about it is really nice to have.
The American Athletic Conference borrowing the IU Natatorium for the weekend, and like to see the incredible logo down there on the bottom of the pool. Always looks good.
Yep.
In the meantime, we're getting ready for the diving well. And if you didn't catch it earlier, or if you're just tuning in, the women's 1 meter diving final, and then the men's 3 meter diving final. The women will start at 5:41, so we're looking at a very quick beginning here on the ladies' side. And then they'll give the men's 3 meter divers 15 minutes to warm up beginning at 6:14. They've got a very detailed plan for the weekend, down to the minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the
We're just about ready to go.
Championship springboard.
We talked a little bit about how swimming, and this is such a special place for swimming, but it's equally special for diving, looking up on that board and having those Olympic qualifiers that they're diving in the same pool.
Of course, Cincinnati's Claire Schurman is the defending champion. This is Connecticut's Erin Clifford leading us off.
She's got a back twister here. Really nice looking dive. Got all the way around. Was a little short of vertical coming home, but that should score nicely.
Total score 47.5. We'll get the results up for you here shortly. So if you're unfamiliar or if you don't follow, every conference does things a little bit differently. Next up, Lauren Burrell from the University of Houston. So everybody dove this morning, and they were able to cut the field down to basically their 8 finalists. As Lauren takes her first dive. And based on this morning's prelims, they'll now decide the order in which they'll dive. And this morning, the top scorer was UConn's Monica Marcello, who had a 297.7 total, which would be a championship meet record should that hold up for her. So we'll keep our eye on that.
And here's SMU's Taylor Oldhauser. She's doing a forward twisting dive here.
Beautiful.
Very beautiful. And you know, the easy thing for you folks watching is, you know, how much splash do they make? What's their body position as they enter the water? You know, and it's really, you know, it's an art form. You're looking at, can this be beautiful? Can this look good? And if you think it looks good, it's probably going to say, probably going to look the same.
So next up, Claire Schurman. Claire waiting. I think they were still waiting for the total award to come in. There we go. So even though you'll see in the top left corner in a moment, even though you'll see the scores for the judges, I believe there's only 5 judges, not 7. So they will take the middle 3 scores and then multiply by the degree of difficulty. Claire with a terrific inward 1.5 somersault pike. Outstanding.
Great lines, got nice and vertical. Direction was good. And, you know, when we talk about direction, that's how far are you from the board. You know, you don't want to go too far, but too close is obviously dangerous. That's not something you want to take part in. So 6.5s and 7s, great dive.
Claire with a 46.8. Good start for her. She finds herself right now in 3rd place. Time for Katie Denninger from the University of Houston. Oh, we've seen some really hot starts.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's important, especially for divers, to get into that rhythm. And they think a lot about the order in which they dive. And a lot of these are great confidence builder dives. So we should see some of them that, you know, they're more comfortable with. Usually they could throw those early, kind of get in a groove. And then we'll see how it pans out.
Elizabeth Drab, who had a really good showing this morning, representing the UConn Huskies. That was awfully tight to the board, but seemed to work out pretty well. Her teammates give her a nice big round of applause. At the moment, a tie for first place would be 48.0. And Drab comes in 39.9. So she finds herself in 6th place. Here's Catherine Crown, who had a fabulous morning, putting together 290 points.
Back 1.5. This is going to be a great looking dive. And she puts it down really nice.
Awards, 7.5, 6.5.
So a good start for Catherine Crown. And she finds herself in 1st place, 53.75, her total award. Beautiful form. He almost kicked the board on the way up.
Yeah, she sure did. And, you know, you see those feet nice and tight together during that pike and being able to put it down straight, especially when you're flipping 1.5 times and twisting 1.5 times.
Monica Marcello, our top mark this morning.
And so those were back-to-back identical dives. Back 1.5. I think she's going to score a little bit lower than her predecessor. There you go. So 6.5s and 7s. Her direction was pretty good, but she came out a little bit crooked, as you can see, not facing parallel to that board.
She gets an even 50. Catherine Crown leads the way, 53.75 after 1 round. And Monica Marcello in 2nd place with 50 points. The conference record is 291.35. Danielle Shedd did that back in 2015. And there's a chance that potentially both Crown and Marcello could break the conference record in that regard.
Yeah, great first dives for both of them. Aaron just went, looked really nice, came over a little bit, but put down a nice dive.
Time for Lauren Burrell. First time around, Burrell 48 flat. Good work from Burrell. Total award for her, 50.6.
Great dive there. Taylor's up next. She's going to be a forward 2.5 somersault, pardon. So what you're looking here for is, can she get vertical off this board, really ride that board all the way up, get some height, puts it down nicely, comes over the top a little bit, but and a little bit far from the board, but good looking dive.
6 across. Claire, 105B.
Really tight somersault. Time for Claire, representing Cincinnati, again our defending champion and the defending conference diver of the year.
Had to rush the entry there a little bit. That's why those marks are a little bit lower. She didn't come all the way around, but still a good dive.
Well, at best, Claire will be in second place at the end of this second round. Time for Katie Denninger.
Here's a back 1.5 somersault. Again, came over top a little bit for that big splash. They're going to take off a few points for that, but had good verticality there. She creates a lot of power off that board, and almost a little too much there, as you can see, as she over-rotates a little bit on the entry.
You might notice in the score box there in the top left-hand corner, the way that it is being input into the official scoring system. I'm noticing it says HU. It is definitely University of Houston, not Houston University, but that's nothing that we can change. That's just the way that it is officially put into the scoring system. So recognize the error, but we'll move on from it.
Absolutely. And there's Elizabeth's second dive, forward 1.5. Really tight, great spin rate here. Came out of it nicely, just came over a little bit at the end, but she'll still score well there.
All right, time for our top 3 finishers this morning. Drab, then Crown, then Marcello. Tough dive here for Catherine.
She puts it down nicely. A little separation of those feet on the entry. Might take off a half point, but really nice dive. 7s and 6.5s there. 48.3. That's a great score.
Well, so far, it puts her in first place, but still a long ways to go.
And now we have Monica, back 1.5 somersault. Same dive as Catherine just before her.
Needs at least 52.05 to take over first place.
Good looking dive there, maybe just shy of vertical, but 47.1.
So Lauren Burrell stays in, I should say makes a move into second place. Marcello falls down to third. Catherine Crown, your leader through 2. Again, we're on the women's 1-meter diving board. The men's 3-meter dive will begin in probably 15 to 20 minutes from now. Perhaps a little longer than that.
That was a tough dive there. You know, she had a great hurdle, but she came off sideways, and they're going to take off for that for sure.
6.5.
Yeah, not the award she was looking for, 44.4.
And she did a nice job saving this. You know, she kept that tight. The dive itself and the flip in the air looked great, but you know, when you set yourself up and when you're off a little bit, it's really hard to recover from that.
Lauren from the University of Houston. One of her better dives so far.
Awards, 6, 6.5, 7, 7, 7.5.
49.2, that's a great dive for her.
Taylor, 203B.
There's a look at it. You can see how her feet came over just a little bit there at the end.
Time for Taylor from SMU. Taylor really hoping she can pick up a big dive here. 2.3, a decent multiplier. That was super tight. Feet really close together. Straight into the water.
5, 5, 5, 5, 4.5. Claire, 303B.
And as you can see, so she came a little bit past vertical there. She tried to hold on to it, but had that big splash at the end, and that's why you saw some of those deductions. That was a great looking dive. Really nice in the air, put it down well. This is going to score pretty well.
51.6 for the defending champion, Claire Schuerman.
And again, back-to-back dives here. You'll see Katie do the exact same dive, so you'll be able to compare at home.
There's Claire.
So as you can see there, not quite the entry that she was looking for. So you'll see a couple of lower scores because of that. Not really the height that you want to see either. So you could, as you watch this and you compare the dives, especially the ones back to back, you can see some of those differences.
Almost through our third round of 6 total in the women's 1 meter dive.
Really nice looking dive in the air. Again, came over just a little bit. I would like to see you bring that down a little bit straighter, but solid point scores there, 41.4.
All right, Catherine Crown was our leader through 2. As long as she puts together a reasonable dive here, she should stay at least in second place, if not first place.
See her reverse 1.5 here, pike position. So direction wasn't great. She kind of came off the board a little bit. Might take off a little bit for that, but look, a really nice looking dive.
They give her 48 points. It's good enough for now to vault her into first. But Monica Marcello going to try to have something to say about that. Monica is 53 points behind her.
So forward 2.5. You're going to look for some tight spinning here and really putting this down straight.
Big degree of difficulty, 2.6.
Beautiful looking dive. Really did a nice job riding that board all the way up, staying nice and tight. Clean entry, huge score, 55.9.
And there is your new first place holder. Halfway through the women's 1 meter dive championship. Monica, then Catherine, then Lauren from Houston.
Aaron will start us off again here in the 4th round with a forward 1.5. 2.5, sorry. Saved that again, but again, she came off that board a little bit sideways. She's something that she's going to have to deal with as she works through these dives. You can see her kind of go right off the edge of that board. That kind of shoots her off to the side, and that's something that those judges are looking for.
Lauren with the reverse 1.5 tuck.
Awards.
Decent marks for her there, 43.05.
Yeah, big spread there, 7.5 down to 6. So some judges looked at something different, I think.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Sometimes.
Taylor from SMU.
Same dive, but pike position. Nice job. Over-rotated just a little bit. Threw a little bit of water there at the end.
5, 5.5, 5, 4.5.
37.2.
Claire, 203B.
All right, Claire back up there. Remember, she had a big dive last time. More than 53 points on that last dive.
Good looking dive. Again, came over a little bit, but really nice job in the air. Rode the board well.
6 across.
40.25, tough score.
Katie, 403B.
All right, Katie Denninger from Houston.
Beautiful dive, really nice lines, small splash. This will score well.
7 across.
7s and 6.5. She'll be happy with that one.
50.4 her total award through 4. She's at 177. Denninger hanging in there. But here comes Drab from UConn. The Huskies looking for some big team points here in the women's 1 meter dive.
Nice job, big splash there. The takeoff for that, and a little far from the board. So she could have done a little bit better of riding that board up and getting vertical. That's why you'll see some of those lower scores for that one.
Catherine, 53-33D.
You can see the big backsplash. All right, Catherine Crown in second place at the moment.
So we'll have a reverse twister here. It means she's rotating backward towards the board as she takes off.
Wow, that was tough.
Yeah, really nice dive. You know, I'm always amazed at how these ladies and gentlemen can pull these things off. You know, being a swimmer as a background, it's really, really impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to appreciate the athleticism of the ladies competing here at the moment. And right now, our leader through 3 with her 4th of 6 dives, Monica Marcello from UConn.
Came off the board a little bit crooked. They're going to take off a few points there, but she has a high D of 2.6 that should carry her through. And not quite. So Monica Marcello is second place right now at 198.55.
Got a good little battle going here. Catherine Crown, Monica Marcello back and forth. They've each had the lead after a couple of rounds, and it's Catherine through 4 with a narrow margin of basically 2.2 total points. UConn's Erin Clifford comes in, starts with her 5th dive, off and rolling.
Yep, and that was a great adjustment on her hurdle. You could see the higher scores there than she had before. Really nice job correcting from her previous 2 dives. Landed right in the middle of that and put one down.
Chance for Lauren Burrell here to try to make a statement. She's very much part of the conversation.
Of the day here for Taylor, 2.8. 2.8, her inward flips. So we'll see how this scores for her.
She really needs it, having a tough final right now in last place.
So here she'll land on her feet. Did a nice job. You know, what you're looking for is, can those hands get back to the side as she comes through? You know, the 5.5s and 5s there. Didn't get super high and was coming out of her tuck right as she was entering there.
Back to Claire Schurman, defending champion.
Great back twister there. A little bit crooked on that entry. They'll take off a little bit there, but look nice.
Claire at 226.65 total score now. She's going to need to get rolling here if she wants to repeat as champion. She'll need a huge last dive, but still could find herself atop the podium, or at least on the podium, as Houston's Katie Denninger goes back to work.
Great looking dive there. Rode that board nicely. She had nice tight twists. We'll see what the judges give her. 6.5s and 7s for 52 flat. Really nice dive there.
Anytime you can get 50 or more, you generally feel pretty good about what you've done.
Absolutely.
Time for Elizabeth Drab, who's also struggling a little bit here. Big dive could help her in a big way. This is round 5, her second to last dive.
Inward 1.5 pike position. Really, really nice dive. That'll score really well. 2.4 degree of difficulty. That'll add up to a 48.
Yeah, really good mark for her. 215.7 now. So she should move out of the basement. And it brings us to Catherine Crown and Monica Marcello, who right now have gone back and forth, 1 and 2.
This will be the exact same dive you just saw, inward 1.5, somersault pike position. A little off-centered, but still should score well.
Catherine, 52.8. That's a huge mark. And now Monica Marcello needs a major dive here of 55 points if she wants to take first place back. Final dive in round 5. Degree of difficulty 2.4. Marcello really tight to the board, came off to the side a little bit, but a good one.
7, 6, 6.5.
45.6, not what she was looking for. And that gives Catherine Crown some real breathing room going into her final round of the night. It's Crown, then Marcello, then Burrell. In that order, 1, 2, 3, as we start our 6th and final round.
Yeah, the blessing and the curse here is Monica is going to know exactly what she needs to do to try and take this lead.
That's where the prelims can really help you. Erin Clifford, that's one of her better dives, I think.
Yeah, really good to see her finish strong. She struggled a little bit there earlier in those earlier rounds and really put one down here at the end.
31D.
Here's Lauren.
Really beautiful dive. You know, the DD isn't super high there at only a 2.1. So, you know, the judges are going to be extra critical, but 7.5 there is a high score. Really nice job.
403B.
So Burrell's at 276.75 is her total. Time for Taylor from SMU, her final dive. A good one here could keep her out of an 8th place finish. Pretty solid.
Great. Yeah, really nice dive. Really nice tight pike. 7s across the board. Really, really nice job with the 50.4.
I'm pretty certain that's Taylor's best individual mark in all 6 of her rounds here. So she finishes 254.4. Now Claire needs a huge dive.
Really nice dive there. Reverse twister. A little bit crooked, but really, really nice job.
53.3 for the defending champion. So the new mark to beat, 279.95. Probably won't hold up as a repeat champion for Claire, but we'll see. Katie from Houston.
Yeah, pressed into that board nice, just shy of vertical on that entry. They might take off a little bit there, but 48.7, got to be happy with that.
All right, so Katie finishes 278.05, which means Claire from Cincinnati still with the top mark. We have just 3 divers remaining, including our 1st and 2nd place holders at the moment. First, Elizabeth from UConn, though.
Same dive that Katie just did. And that was great. The entry was a little bit better. Would have liked to see her get up off that board a little bit more, and that's probably why those marks are a little bit lower than Katie just before.
Well, the good news for Claire is she might find herself back atop the podium. She can finish no worse than 3rd with Catherine and Monica still to dive, and Claire's mark right now still in the top spot with only 2 to go. Catherine Crown looking for a championship.
And great looking dive. Really tight, close to the board, great direction. Really nice entry. 7.5, 55.9.
Shatters, absolutely shatters the conference record of 291.35. She's at 309.45. Monica Marcello needs to dive maybe the best dive of her life here to win.
Great looking dive. Not going to be enough to knock off that top spot, But really nice job coming home.
Monica finishes in second place. She also beats the conference record, but the new record holder is Catherine Crown of SMU. She is your women's 1-meter dive champion.
What an awesome job by Catherine. You know, these athletes, when they have those 6 dives that they have to put together, and when they don't necessarily go the way they want, or the pressure that's on them is so huge. The whole natatorium is watching them each dive one at a time. And congratulations to Catherine. Really, really nice job.
So SMU with their first championship of the weekend. Some hugs for Catherine Crown. She and Monica Marcello put on a really good show. Back and forth they went, and the back half of the diving competition, I thought Catherine really shined. She gets a chance to celebrate with a couple of her teammates, Taylor and Joanna. Of course, Joanna Holloway did not compete. She was the first alternate. She's standing there in the track jacket. So we're getting ready for the men's 3-meter competition and hoping to check in with Catherine after winning the championship. We'll see if we can track her down. In the meantime, 3 events complete. The Houston Cougars win the women's 800-yard freestyle relay. The Cincinnati Bearcats win the men's 800-yard freestyle relay. And SMU's Catherine Crown, our first individual champion at the 2019 competition.
And as the men are warming up here, just a reminder for those folks at home, we will see 3 diving events this weekend. You'll have the 1-meter, which you just saw. The boys, the men will be competing on the 3-meter tonight, and then they'll finish up with some platform diving.
Platforms will be awfully fun to watch, especially because of the backdrop behind it. With all the Olympic names written on the wall, there's a certain prestige, a certain mystique about the way they compete here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, without a question. And the renovations that they've done here, especially in the diving well, they've widened those platforms to accommodate for synchronized diving and the such, and really did a nice job of really making this one of the best diving venues in the world.
This is a facility that was built in 1982, so it's been around for a little over 30 years. I guess closer to 40 years really than 30, but it has been renovated. And truly, this is just pretty much where every kid that wants to swim and you start to think about swimming on the biggest of stages, this is pretty much the venue that these kids often dream about. And look, for a lot of them, they've probably been fortunate enough to compete here somewhere along the way. But for many of them, this is the first time. And this is a big deal. This is the big leagues here.
It is. And they say, Indianapolis has grown as a city and really has become sort of the mecca for amateur sport in the United States, with a lot of national championships held here. The NCAA headquarters, of course, are right downtown, right down the road from here.
Just beyond our walls, yeah.
It's a pretty special place. And here in the crossroads of America and having this facility at their disposal, and it's really a great way for the swimming and aquatics community in general, diving, synchronized, and water polo and everything, to have this here and for those folks to have a part of it.
We understand that the podium ceremony will start in less than 60 seconds, so long as they remain on schedule. And if that's the case, we'll turn it over to our public address system. They do such a fine job at informing those in attendance. And then again, we're hoping to visit with Catherine Crown from SMU.
So on the screen here, you see some of the swimmers warming up in between their races. We got divers going on. There's always something going on a pool deck, and that's the interesting thing about sitting up here. You get to see some of the athletes' approach to how they swim. We have some folks listening to music, relaxing before their races. Some of them getting hyped up and swimming in the water and getting ready to roll.
Of course, Miss Crown goes by Katie, but her first name is her given name is Catherine. Sophomore from Southlake, Texas. Went to Southlake Carroll High. And she is your champion here in 2019. Under Steve Collins, who's been doing this for a little while.
A little bit, yep.
32 years down in Dallas.
Yep, and that SMU program, you know, they've been a staple in the swimming and diving community for so long, and they had that renovation on their pool, and kind of took a couple steps back performance-wise and the such, but really looking to make a statement, and Katie doing a really nice job leading the charge there.
All right, we'll turn it over to our public address system as they introduce our top 3 finishers on the women's 1-meter dive.
In the women's 1-meter championship in 8th place, Taylor Olhauser. Finishing in 7th, Elizabeth Drab. In 6th place, Erin Clifford. Finishing in 5th place, Lauren Burrell. In 4th place, Katie Denninger. And now your top 3 ladies in the 1-meter championship. Awards being presented by Houston's Bob Gunter. Your bronze medalist with a finals score of 279.95, Claire Schuerman, University of Cincinnati. Your silver medalist with a final score of 298.15 from the University of Connecticut, Monica Marcello. And your gold medalist with a new American Athletic Conference diving record for the 1-meter springboard of 3:09.45 from SMU, Catherine Crown. Top 3 ladies in the women's 1-meter championship, and your new meet record holder for the 1-meter, SMU's Catherine Crown. Again, her final score, a 3:09.45. Congratulations, ladies.
So Catherine Crown, the new record holder. I love the touch in the background, by the way, of playing the fight song for your individual and team champions. I think that's pretty cool the way they add that in.
Absolutely.
All those little things make a big difference at championship meets. It really makes you feel like you're on top of the world when you win a title. In the meantime, let's go down to the new champion along with our own Vince Egan.
Catherine, congratulations. You overcame injuries this season. You were out most of the year.
Yep. I'm just so happy to be back after a concussion took me out for about 8 months. So.
How are you feeling right now?
I feel great. Just 2 months back in the water, and oh, it's just amazing.
And a new conference record for you.
I'm really surprised. I'm excited.
Did you know that coming in?
No, I did not.
You seem surprised right now.
I know. When they said that when I was walking to the podium, I was like, oh.
So a great day for you overall then.
I'm really happy with how I did, and everybody else did amazing as well. So.
Well, congratulations and welcome back from your injuries as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for checking in, Vince. Certainly appreciate the insight there. And look, I think this is an SMU team that's awfully proud of what Katie had done this year, and it was pretty clear that from a coaching perspective, they were really hoping that she'd be able to go. And the fact that not only was she able to compete at a high level, but did so in conference record fashion, pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And, you know, that's it's pretty neat to see two get above that conference record mark on the same dive.
Envelope a little bit when you have a couple of competitors setting new marks. You get a look here, by the way, at our top 3 finishers. Claire Schuerman, Monica Marcello, and Katie Crown. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, it'll be time for the men's 3-meter diving championships. You're watching the American Athletic Conference Swimming and Diving Champions on the American Digital Network.
Bernie scores 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud, be bold, be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are Boldly Bearcat.
There's a lot to do out there. You can either talk about it, or you can do something about it. At ECU, we choose to do things. And we can help you do just about anything. Come here to keep hometowns thriving, hearts beating, or make waves across the world. Wherever you're headed, this ship can get you there. With 30,000 of us doing so much, you won't find anyone sitting around. You ready?
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
I was the last person anybody's thinking is going to be in college athletics. One thing I really valued about my SMU experience was being in engineering school. I was taught how to think. In 2012, my wife and I decided to start our foundation. Basically, the goal is to let kids be kids while they're in the hospital, but also be able to return to being a kid when they're done. A huge part of my quality of life is the experiences that I've had, and that was all provided by SMU. I'm Thomas Morstead. Game changers are shaped here.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
When everything's a little different, one thing remains the same. The chance to make a real difference. Because the norm here is anything but. Every day our volume grows. Every moment a bit more colorful than the last. From a city that's 300 years old, we inspire things that are entirely new. Because that's what creates the change the world desperately needs.
This is a classroom.
This is a lab.
This is a study break. This is our backyard. This is home.
This is UConn.
Powerful minds.
Strong in mind.
Strong in body.
The American is dedicated to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see,
then it needs to be okay to seek help for injuries we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help.
End the stigma.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
For our men's 3-meter. Current time is 25 after, so we are 4 minutes away from getting started with the 3-meter championship. Plan your final dives accordingly. Judges, if you could get ready. And current time is 26 minutes after, so we're 3 minutes away from the men's 3-meter. Divers, complete your final dives. Judges, if you could get ready to be in your seats. 2 minutes away from getting started here for the men's 3-meter championships. So divers, if you conclude your final dives, we do need our judges in place. John, Darian, Hurtley, Tony, and Jesse. And for our teams that are currently seated in direct line of sight of the boards, we do need you to scooch off to the side. We can't have you in direct line of sight with the divers. We need Cincinnati to move off to the side, please.
Getting ready for the men's 3-meter dive championship. Nobody has ever won this event unless they've attended SMU. And tonight, Louis Hunt, who is the top-seeded man in our competition, is going to try to become the outlier. He represents the University of Cincinnati. He had a great prelim this morning, and we'll see if Louis Hunt can knock off SMU's Parker Hardigree. Now, they had a pretty solid competition, but those will be your top 2 seeds in terms of performance.
Yeah, looking ahead here, Parker Hardigree has the highest DD degree of difficulty in the field, starting off with a 3.0 and a 3.1 back-to-back. So that's something to look out for. If he could put those down, he's going to cut that lead and really put some pressure on Louis going into those final rounds.
All right, so Dylan Porter from the University of Cincinnati going to get us started. 4:05C, his first dive, 2.7. This is the 3-meter diving championship.
Great looking dive there. Looked nice in the air. Came over a little bit with that little bit of a splash, but still should score decent.
So 44.55. Pretty good start for Dylan. Get a look at it. A couple tight somersaults. Well done. All right. Ty Sims, also a Cincinnati Bearcat, threw up a 245.1 this morning. He'll start here reverse.
So tough dive to start off with. Came off the board, really kind of launching out, and it's really hard to recover that from that. If you're not getting vertical right off the start, it's really hard to maintain that body position. And as you can see, came around a little bit. Pretty low marks there, and hopefully he can bounce back.
22.4, not really what he hoped to start with, especially considering the challenge of that dive. All right, time for Tori Wagner of the UConn Huskies. 263.45 his seed time, or I should say his seed mark.
Nice 1.5, nice 2.5 there. Pike position was a little short of vertical coming home. They'll take off there.
Our next diver from
42 even. Good start for him.
Identical dive here for Bladen from East Carolina.
Gavrilo Bladen. Pirate fans love it.
Yeah, really nice job in the air. Good verticality. Came over a little bit at the end.
6'6", 5.5, 6'6.5.
43.2, not too shabby.
Kyle Kennedy.
Gotta say, I dig the haircut.
Is that out of jealousy or because it just looks good on him?
You know what? I don't know if I could pull that off.
Here's Kyle Kennedy. Love the honesty from Joel Elbert. If you joined us late, I'm Brendan Gulick. Glad to have you on board here. Day 1 of 4.
So 3 dives back-to-back, forward 1.5 pike positions. That was the best score of the 3 at 49.2.
So Kyle Kennedy with the top mark so far of our first 5 divers.
So Devin here is going to attempt 3.5 somersault. This is tied for the highest DD in the competition at 3.1.
Trying to make an early statement for the Pirates.
Really nice dive there. Looked great in the air. Came off the board nicely. Going to take off a little bit on that entry, but awesome dive. 65.1.
65.1 is a huge opening score for Devin Nugent. Wow. All right, Parker Hardegree, 51.52B, also a high degree of difficulty. First and only dive for the Mustangs.
Really nice job there. Looked really tight in the air. Put it down nicely. This is going to score really well.
61.5. So he finds himself off to a good start. Just to clarify what I was trying to say there, Parker the only diver in this competition for the Mustangs. So he's their only hope if they want to win a 6th straight championship on the men's 3-meter dive.
Yeah, not to put any pressure on him.
Yeah, none whatsoever. Meanwhile, Louis Hunt for Cincinnati had a terrific morning and gets a huge round of applause.
And rightfully so. That was a terrific dive. Spun really tight. 54.6.
All right, so good start at the top there. Now, Louis Hunt finished in 5th place in this event last year, but the top 4 finishers were all seniors and have all graduated. So we are guaranteed to have a new champion in 2019, and Louis Hunt is hoping he'll be the one up top.
And here's Dylan starting off round 2. Really great entry there. They're going to reward him for that, certainly. Came off a little bit crooked, but really nice dive.
48. Slightly better than his first dive of the evening. It brings up Ty Sims, who certainly would like to forget the tough first showing he had. We'll see what he can do.
Again, really impressive there, and especially coming off of that that first missed dive earlier. Really nice job. Really proud of that kid to come back and put one down.
6s across the board. So a score of 43.2 for him. Time for Torrey from UConn.
Really nice job. The entry was a little bit shaky. Slightly big splash, but looked really good in the air. They're going to reward him nicely.
Big dive, 50.0. And a good one for him. Significantly better than his first dive as Gavrilo Bladen gets ready to dive in. 3.5 somersault tuck.
Very impressive. I don't know how they can see the water when they spin that fast, but really nice job.
Just crushed it, 54.6. And the ECU fans love it, as they should. Kyle Kennedy from UConn. Kyle last year finished 9th in this event. He technically won the B final.
Good looking dive, a little loose up top in the air, and wasn't quite straight on the entry, but still should score decently well.
45.9, not too shabby. Certainly kept himself tight to the board there, didn't launch out very far. Devin Nugent, who was also a finalist in this event a year ago as a freshman.
Had a big first round score of 65.1. Let's see if you can back it up.
ECU off to a pretty good start in the dive.
Yep, came out of that tuck a little bit early, and he pulled it around nicely to put it down, but it'll take off a little bit for that.
Still a 50.4, nothing wrong with that at all. So it's not a 65, but nevertheless, Devin Nugent in pretty good position, and ECU fans will enjoy looking up at the video board right now where they see their 2 divers sitting in positions 1 and 2. But Parker Hardegree from SMU hoping to change that.
Again, another 3.5 somersault spinning really fast towards the water. Put it down really nice. Nice tight pike in the air, and score of a 54.25.
So pretty good start for Parker after the big first score. Follows it with a 54, and he'll find himself in first place right now. It's a tight contest, but he's a couple tenths of a point out front after 2 dives. Louis Hunt. And the Bearcat goes barely splashing into the water.
Awards. Really great lines there. I liked what I saw. 46.8.
Louis Hunt finds himself in third place. 2 rounds complete. Parker, Devin, and Louis, your top 3. They were all over 100, and they were all off to outstanding starts in that first dive and followed them up with good scores in round 2. We go back to Dylan Porter, round 3. Bearcats between Louis, Dylan, and Ty see 3 straight competitors.
4.5.
Dylan with a 40.6.
Wanted a little more there. Certainly came over top a little bit on that entry. You saw how he sort of took off the board a little bit sideways, and feet were a little bit apart. Ty Sims up next here, University of Cincinnati.
2.8 coming for Ty. Big kick.
Big kick, yeah, and over-rotated a little bit. Didn't have a great hurdle setting up that dive, which kind of, you're sort of doomed from the beginning. Very few people can really bring that back if the hurdle and the bounce aren't what they need to be.
So 33.6 the award for Ty, and he's had a tough final so far. Torrey Wagner from UConn. Best dive so far was a 50.0 last time.
Again, came over the top a little bit more with that. Spun a little bit fast. You know, when you're looking at this, these are boards that these boys have never been on before. You know, and there's something to be said for that when you only have a couple days to kind of prepare and get the feel for the boards and get the feel for what the lighting is like and what the pool is like. Sometimes it's a little bit easy to lose track.
Gavrilo. Good control on his rotation, the 2.5 somersaults.
Yep, was a little short of vertical. We'll take off a little bit that, but he pulled it through nicely.
49.2 his total award.
Kyle, 205C.
Kyle from UConn up next. Kyle hoping to eclipse the 49.2 he had from his first dive.
This is tied for his highest DD of the night.
Okay, not his best.
Yeah, he probably wanted to put that down a little bit cleaner, but still 5s and 6s and a solid 43.
Devin, 305C.
All right. Devin from East Carolina, definitely a challenger in this event.
Yeah, had a very impressive first dive. Followed it up with a very solid second dive. Let's see if he can keep the ball rolling. Came out a little bit from that board and over-rotated coming home. He's not going to be happy with that. But with the DD at 2.8, he should still score fairly well.
46.2 is okay, but you're right. He really came deep. Although he got a nice cheer from his own team, which are roughly 10 feet from him. Parker from SMU. Good start to the 3-meter finals.
And backed it up. Really, really nice dive there. Got great power coming off that, a great press into that first dive, and really, really nice job with the 52.5.
Louis, 51.52B.
So Parker Hardigree, the pride of the Mustangs right now, holding his own plenty fine. He's in first place by 7 points over Devin Nugent. Louis Hunt, final dive of the third round.
This is Louis' hardest degree of difficulty dive. Really nice job in the air. Again, they're going to take off a
Awards
little bit
5,
on that entry.
5.5 across.
But a 48, not too bad.
3, beginning round number 4.
And we're halfway through.
51,
All right, Parker in first place, then Devin, then Louis in that order. And Louis has faded a little bit. Parker right now 7 points ahead of Devin, and Devin is a full 12 points up on Louis. Those are your top three as Dylan Porter tries to dive his way back into the heat of things. He was in sixth place through 3 rounds.
Yeah, that's going to be. This is going to score well. Feet were a little bit apart on that entry, but really nice score there at a 45, and only a 2.5 degree difficulty.
Time for Cincinnati's Ty Sims. Trying to find his balance.
Really nice dive there out of Ty. A little crooked off the entry, but off the board, and that's why some of those lower marks were there.
Torrey, 305.
43.4. The high 2.8 helps him out a little bit. Torrey Wagner, who is trailing right now by a good margin, needs a big dive here.
And he put a solid dive together there. You know, a little bit off on that hurdle, pulled it together nicely in the air, and put it down for a 50.4.
Yeah, easily his best effort so far. Gavrilo Bladen.
Same dive that Torrey just did.
Crushed it.
Really, really nice job, especially on that entry. A little bit far from the board. Came off the board a little bit long, so you'll see a little bit of a slower marks, but 51.8 is great.
Kyle, 305.
51.8. Very well done by Gavrilo.
Kyle Kennedy up next for the University of Connecticut. Three back-to-back reverse 1.5s. All looked very similar. 50.4 on the first one. Gavrilo was 51.8, and this was a 51.8.
Devin,
solid execution, solid score. Kyle Kennedy hanging tough. All right. Time for East Carolina and Devin. Huge kick. That was a tough finish.
Yeah, tough finish. You know, he needed to put down a good dive to be in the mix, and that just wasn't going to cut it.
Well, the challenge for Devin was he had found himself very much in the thick of things in this competition, but that may hurt a good bit. Up to 191.4 now in total. Scores just a 29 there. Parker Hardigree has a chance to really take control here.
A little short. We'll see how the judges score it.
4.5, 5.5, 5, 4.5, 4.5.
39.2. Definitely wanted more, but opened the door for Louis.
Yeah, probably a fair score, and you're right, for Louis. Geez, after he sees Devin and Parker in round 4 here not put their best effort forward, it's a big chance for Louis to take over first place.
Big inward here. And really did a nice job stepping up to the plate there. He's going to be really happy with this score. 49.9.
6.5.
So Louis moves into second place after he had been 12 points behind second place. He's now 8 points in front of Devin Nugent in third, and he's only 8 points behind Parker Hardigree up top. So Louis Hunt closes the gap in round 4. We start round 5 with Dylan.
Dylan had a nice dive there. Just didn't quite get around to vertical.
5 across. Tie, 405C.
42 even there. Brings his score up to 220.15.
A reminder, we still do have 2 swimming events the rest of the evening before we conclude our coverage. The women's 200-yard medley relay and the men's 200-yard medley relay coming up. But still a little bit on the 3-meter diving board first. Beautiful dive.
Beautiful dive. And after, some disappointing earlier rounds, really put it down nicely there in this round.
47.25. That's his best score of the night. Well done by Ty Sims. Kind of let the feet get apart a little bit there toward the bottom, but perfectly rotated. Time for Tori and Yukon.
See a back 2.5 here. Came over a little bit, but he's gonna like his score.
58.8. Holy smokes! Big one for Tori. He's had a couple of 50-plus point dives, but that's definitely his best of the night.
Yeah, and UConn is looking for points everywhere, and having these guys in the mix here is really important to their team scores.
No doubt. Don't forget the team margins, because everybody gets focused on an individual champion in an event like this. Gavrilo Bladen.
Really, really nice dive. Super tight. Put it down nice. He's going to be really happy with this.
52.65. A great mark for him. Not quite his best of the night, but he's had 2 tough dives and 3 terrific dives. All right, Kyle Kennedy is our 5th diver of 8 here in round 5.
Back 1.5, 1.5. It's going to look really nice. Not a super high DD, so really nice to see him put that down.
Yeah, it's imperative when you have a low degree of difficulty to execute it well and get those high scores. And Kyle did just that. Well done for him.
This is Devin's 2nd highest DD dive of the day.
Yeah, and this is huge for him after the last time out. Devin last time 29.7. He really needs this.
Did a really, really nice job bouncing back. He's a little bit off-centered on the entry there. They'll take off a little bit, but he's going to score really, really well.
63 even. That is almost our biggest score of the night. I think it's our 3rd highest individual score. We had a 65 and a 64, but 63 is a great job by Devin to get back into things after that tough dive 29.7 last time.
Yeah, and it's always impressive to see that, when somebody throws down something that they're not happy with, and really being able to have short-term memory and go back and take control of the next dive.
Parker right now in first place.
7.5, 7.5.
It'll stay that way, 64.5. Another big dive for Parker Hardigree, who's trying to bring a 6th consecutive championship back to Dallas in this event.
Putting a lot of pressure here on Louis. We'll see what he can do.
No doubt. Louis is 73 points behind him. Started this round 8 points back of first place. Well executed.
Well executed, the DD of 2.8 is going to help him out a little bit here, but he's going to be a little bit disappointed with some of those scores.
Louis falls back into 3rd place after he had been in 2nd place behind Devin Nugent. So through 5 rounds, Parker 272, Devin 254, and Louis 248. SMU, ECU, and Cincinnati have the top 3 divers. This is the beginning of our 6th and final round. Starting with Dylan from Cincinnati, is in 7th place at the moment.
Awards 4.5, 5, 4.5.
And probably not what he was hoping for, 39.2.
Tie. 53-35.
Yeah, and kicked out of that a little bit early, you saw. Wasn't able to bring that thing all the way around.
All right, time for Ty Sims, who's had a couple of really good dives and a couple that have left him frustrated.
Yeah, but this is his highest DD of the night, saving it for the end, so hopefully he could go out with a bang.
I'd consider that a pretty good dive. A little kick at the end, but all in all, pretty solid.
Absolutely.
5.5, 5.5, 6.
50.75, should certainly be proud of that.
Torrey, 52,
and his best dive of the night.
So a good finish for Ty Sims. Here's Torrey from UConn. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah, great entry. Would have liked to see him come a little bit more vertical on that entry, but 46.8, really great score.
All right, the ECU faithful getting behind Gavrilo Bladen.
And again, finishing up with his highest DD dive of the session.
Wow.
Yeah, really, really nice job. You saw him kind of cockeyed as he came into the water there. They're going to take off a little bit for that, and hence the slightly smaller scores there.
Even still, that was a fun one to watch.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of turning, a lot of twisting, and he did time it up pretty well. Kyle Kennedy from UConn coming. By the way, the conference championship meet record in this event is 415.1, set by SMU's Bryce Klein. That is not in jeopardy tonight.
It is not, and that is an impressive six-dive score.
That's a crazy six-dive score. Kyle with a 51.8.
Best dive of the night for Kyle there. Really nice to see these guys put down their best dives at the end here.
All right, Devin Nugent. He's got one more chance to try and maybe steal first place from Parker Hardigree.
He's going to need something special on this. Really nice dive there, but it's not going to be enough. He should be proud of himself. It was a good effort put forth. Just didn't have it in the cards tonight.
54.6, a great closing mark for Devin Nugent. But this appears to be Parker's competition to lose as long as he can, well, not fail his dive. Parker Hardigree here should be your champion. Sweet.
And it looks like SMU is going to continue the tradition of diving dominance here at this meet.
How about a 65-25? Best score of the night for any individual dive. It's Parker Hardigree with an exclamation point. Unbelievable. Louis Hunt technically could beat him, but he would need a near perfect 10 across the board. Final dive of the competition is a really good one from Louis. Will it put him in second place or third place? It's a third place finish for Louis Hunt, 2 points behind Devin Nugent. And Parker Hardigree, your conference champion for the SMU Mustangs. Devin Nugent from East Carolina finishes in second. Cincinnati, Louis Hunt goes third.
Yeah, and those ECU fans down there and his teammates, as you can see here, really excited for his diver. You know, it's such a fun experience when you're a swimmer and you get to watch these divers. You know, there's not a whole lot of interaction day to day, practice to practice, and then when you come to these meets, it really, really matters. And when you're talking about points and team scores, 3 of the events are diving events, so this is big time for everybody here. As you can see, showing a lot of support there for their diver, Devin.
Diving can be sometimes underappreciated. Is that fair to say?
Oh, certainly, you know, and especially as a swimmer myself, you know, definitely didn't appreciate it the way I should have. And, you know, heck, just go up there and try something that they're trying to do. You know, there's very few people, a lot of people know how to swim and can swim back and forth. Very few people can do anything close to what they're capable of. Really neat to watch.
You could make the argument they're the best athletes in this entire natatorium here this weekend. Again, your finish, Parker Hardigree, the champion for SMU. And Devin Nugent from East Carolina, then Louis Hunt. So the Bearcats, who got some points with a really good finish, winning the men's 800-yard freestyle relay. The Bearcats finish in third in the 3-meter diving competition. And SMU takes home their first championship of the night, and a first-time champion in this event after Bryce Klein had won 3 in a row for the Mustangs.
Yep, and we're moving on to the 200 medley relay, one of my favorite events to watch. You get a little taste of everything. It's fast, it's quick. You get all 4 strokes in here. It's going to be some exciting swimming coming up.
Of course, we'll have the award ceremony first, and that should start at 6:59, so we're about 2 minutes away. And then we'll make our way at 7:06. The women's 200-yard medley relay will commence. SMU, the defending champion in that, and then East Carolina, the defending champion in the men's 200-yard medley relay. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Again, if you are just joining our coverage, Houston wins on the women's 800-yard freestyle. Cincinnati wins on the men's 800-yard freestyle. And then on the women's diving board, Katie Crown for SMU. And on the men's 3-meter dive, SMU's Parker Hardigree. All right, we'll lay out here for just a minute. We'll turn things over to our public address announcer momentarily. He is just about ready to announce our champions. So we'll have our podium ceremony coming up. You get a great look at this gorgeous natatorium here in Indianapolis. Vince, how you doing down there, buddy? Good? All right. Yeah, I know you can hear me, but can't talk. That's all right. At least you can hear us.
We recognize our top divers in the men's 3-meter championship. In 8th place, University of Cincinnati's Ty Sims. In 7th place from Cincinnati, Dylan Porter. In 6th place from UConn, Tori Wagner. 5th place from ECU, Gavrilo Bladen. In 4th place from UConn, Kyle Kennedy. And now your top 3 men in the 3-meter championship, presenting our awards at UConn's John Bransfield. Your bronze medalist with a final score of 3:07.15 from the University of Cincinnati, Louis Hunt. Your silver medalist with a final score of 3:09.00 from ECU, Devin Nugent. And your gold medalist in the men's 3-meter championship, his final score, 3:37.35 from SMU, Parker Hardigree. Top 3 gentlemen in the men's 3-meter springboard, including your gold medalist from SMU, Parker Hardigree. Congratulations, gentlemen.
All right, so Parker Hardigree and Katie Crown, both SMU Mustangs, both gold medalists in our championship finals here this evening. We'll check in momentarily with Parker, but I think the Mustangs would be happy to see where they're at so far. At the moment, the team scores favor the University of Connecticut. They've got a 19-point lead on Cincinnati on the men's side. And on the women's side, UConn with 49 points, 6 points ahead of SMU. So a good day so far for the Huskies. All right, let's go down with our new champion, Parker Hardigree, the 6th time in a row, Vince, that an SMU Mustang wins on the 3-meter dive.
6 in a row for SMU, but you've been back only 3 weeks from injury.
Yeah, I was out for 12 weeks. My last meet was actually in November. I haven't been practicing or competing until about 3 weeks ago. I finally got cleared to come back. So it's really nice to come out here and represent the best school in the AAC.
So how's that back feeling now?
It still hurts, but you know, my doctors told me if I could push through it, then I was allowed to dive. So I told myself I was just gonna fake it till I make it and push through.
What's it like as a freshman competing?
Honestly, it was really nerve-wracking. My coach just told me I had to go, get in my zone, and try to relax and stay calm. So that's what I did, and you know, brought home the W for SMU.
Talking to your coach, it sounds like this was your most complete performance to date.
Yes, it was. I haven't really been to a competition yet where I haven't had an injury. I was out at the beginning of the year with my ankle, and I still competed. And then I had my back injury, and so I went to 2 more competitions. So this is actually my first meet where I was like most healthy, I guess.
Parker, congratulations. Glad that back is feeling better.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Awesome.
Certainly
Congrats.
nice to come together at the right time like that. No, you finally get healthy, you get ready to go, and then you go out and put together your best performance of the year. And oh, by the way, good enough to win a gold medal.
Yeah, absolutely. And tough kid, you know. I mean, to be battling all season long and have that injury set you back and be able to put it down here, really, really neat to see.
We try not to talk too much about injuries, but the fact of the matter is both Katie Crown and Parker Hardigree have gone through some tough times throughout the course of the year. And what's really cool right now is the 2 of them are actually going to stand on top of the podium and rep their gold medals and get some pictures. And I have to imagine it's a pretty proud night for SMU.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and this is just a great way to start the day for them. You know, they had 2 great relays for the men's and the women's side, and now with their men and women winning this, really great way to start the day.
So, with 4 events down today and 2 more to come, we have just the women's and men's 200-yard medley relays. SMU, the defending champs on the ladies' side, might they make it a 3 gold medal performance tonight? Or will someone else steal the spotlight? Houston won the first relay on the women's side. And on the men's side, it was the East Carolina Pirates last year with no seniors on their team that won the championship. ECU this year with Tristan Taylor and Gavin Erdman, a couple of seniors swimming the first and final legs in the 200 medley. All right, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll have the introductions for the 200-yard medley relay on the women's side. You're watching the 2019 American Athletic Conference Swimming and Diving Championships.
Bernie scores! 3 strikeouts in a row. Dominance for a 4th straight year. Hueso from 30! Unbelievable.
And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
I was ready to rock down on the pool deck with East Carolina in lane 2, Cincinnati in lane 3, Houston in lane 4, SMU lane 5, Tulane lane 6, UConn in lane 7. The women's 200-yard medley relay championship meet record 1 minute 37.32 seconds set by the Mustangs back in 2015. They've been really good in this relay historically. Can they do it again?
Yeah, I think they can, and but there's going to be a great race in the middle of this pool with Houston, SMU, Cincinnati, and Tulane. We'll see how well the backstrokers can lead things off.
In fact, SMU has won this event the last 4 years in a row. The only time they didn't win it was when the Louisville Cardinals won back in the inaugural championships in 2014. Catherine Morrison in lane 2, Natalie Obando lane 3, Laura Lauderette in lane 4, lane 5 Felicity Passan, Wei Zhang in lane 6, and Georgia Apostolou in lane 7.
It's really important to get a great lead here, especially with the relay being what it is. Being a 200 medley relay, it's quick, it's fast, it needs to be. We need to have a great first leg here. You'll see great underwater kicking here. You're going to see most of them swim underwater during this first leg.
Starting with the backstroke. Good turn for Laura Lauderette. She's got the Houston Cougars in good spot. Lane 4, Houston out front. SMU and Tulane in a good place too. They make the quick turns. Here we go.
Out in a 24-7 for Houston. Great first leg.
Lily West, Grace Siebert, Peyton Condis, Andrea Podmanikova, Catherine McDonald, and Caitlin Walsh all in the pool.
We're going to have really quick exchanges here. SMU is challenging. Really nice breaststroke leg out of both Houston, SMU, and Tulane.
Great job by Peyton Condis. Just crushed it in the butterfly. Katie Higgins dives in the pool for Houston. Erin Traha for SMU really closing in on her fly.
And we'll see who wins this turn. Really important to have strong underwaters, and what a great turn there for SMU.
Traha has put the Mustangs out front.
Houston's going to need something special here on the last leg. Really quick exchange there in the middle of the pool.
Mackenzie Leahy swam leadoff in the 800. Can she come back, or will it be Gabriella Grobler for SMU?
Gabriella's got a nice race here, but here she comes. Here comes Leahy.
Leahy in lane 4, Grobler in lane 5. Leahy closing ground. Houston trying to take it. And they do! For the first time in 5 years, the SMU Mustangs have been outtouched. It's the Cougars, the champions in both relays today.
137-47, just a 10th off of the B standard. Great race here.
Mackenzie Leahy swam incredible in that last leg.
What a great relay, and splitting a 21-9. Only girl here by a long shot to go under the 22-second mark. Huge swim for her. She set it up really nicely on that start, maintained speed through the breakout, and we talked earlier about the importance of a great turn and those details. None of them are more important than in at 50 freestyle. It's the shortest race, and if you can hit a turn and hit a breakout, you're going to be setting yourself up really nicely.
What an incredible race by Houston. They got off to a great start. The middle 2 legs were good enough.
Good enough.
The last leg certainly where they came back and won it. SMU gave them a great race, but Houston comes away with a victory.
Yep, and here's the recap. Houston came out to a little bit of a lead here early with SMU right there. This is one of my favorite relays to be a part of, to watch. Really quick racing, and there's some changing going on. You can see there SMU taking the lead, and gosh, a full body length back for Leahy. What an awesome job for her to come off that wall and finish well.
Close a full body length in
it's unbelievable.
100, or I should say in 50. It's just crazy how much ground she made up.
Yeah.
So UH ecstatic, as they should be. And if you're a Cougar, having won the last 2 conference championships and now having won the first 2 relays tonight, I think they're probably feeling like they're off to a pretty good start here in 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and they eclipsed their mark of a 138.8 set earlier in this year by over a second. So, that was probably a mid-season rested swim for that relay. And to beat it by over a second in this relay is really impressive.
Again, Mackenzie Leahy was in both of the 2 relays today. Zarina Brown swam anchor in the first relay of the evening. Mackenzie Leahy swam that first leg, and then today in the nightcap, she swims the back half. But just thought it was incredible the way she finished that race, kind of the highlight. And look, there were some other happy swimmers, but
yeah,
I think if you're SMU, you probably feel a little snake bitten there, no?
Yeah, a little bit. I think you've kind of had everybody's number for a while, and it's really fun to see somebody come through and put a race together that way, and that's why we love swimming. I mean, it's less than 2/10 separating these 2 swimmers and these 2 teams coming home. What an awesome, exciting way to finish out the beginning of this championship. And And look at Tulane. I mean, they were seated at a 143, dropped over 3 seconds to come and come into third in this relay.
By the way, that's a new school record in the 200-yard medley relay. The previous record set last year was 138.57, and they swam 137.47. So by almost a full second, the new school record for the Houston Cougars.
Yeah, really exciting stuff. That's exactly what you want to see on day one of a championship meet. And here come those Lady Cougars as they accept their gold medals.
Didn't really talk too much in that race about Laura Latterout, but we'll see her definitely throughout the course of the weekend. In talking with Ryan Wakamerka, he said, I'd love to have 30 of Laura Latterouts on our team. He said she's so much a leader in this program, way beyond what she just does in the pool. And he said beginning in January, she just burst onto the scene. He couldn't wait to watch her this weekend. And she gets the evening started with a really solid first leg in the 200-yard medley.
And your gold medalist, University of Houston.
So congratulations to the Cougars. And sophomore Mackenzie Leahy will join us here momentarily. Vince Egan down on the pool deck for us, having our post-race interviews. He's given us some great content so far from him tonight. That's a pretty happy bunch. Looks like the whole team has made their way over. Laura, Peyton, Katie, and Mackenzie. Vince, take it away.
We're down here, and Mackenzie, I'm going to start off with you. What does this mean for you guys?
I think it's pretty big because we haven't won in the past 2 years, and it was a close race and we did it, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, coming off of last year in the second place, SMU, and kind of roles reversed this year.
Yeah, but I think that everyone raced pretty good. It was a good race.
Team effort all around for you guys.
Yes, of course.
And let's talk about a new team record as well for UH.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you all. Is it all her?
No, it's the team.
I'm just giving you a hard time because they all pointed at Mackenzie saying she was the one that wanted to talk.
No, I don't like to talk that.
She just had an incredible split for her. So
congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
I think those teammates recognize that Mackenzie took a sub-22 split, which is just crazy, and far and away the best one of the entire race, and it gives Houston their second team championship of the night in the relays.
Yep.
Well done.
Yeah, very well done. And, that is a special split. Whenever you can break a barrier like that on a relay individually or otherwise, it's just seeing that 21 there when the rest are 22s is really important stuff. And it's going to set herself up nicely. She's being greeted right now by her teammates, hugs all around. A really excited bunch here for the University of Houston.
Getting ready for our final event of the evening. It is the men's 200-yard medley relay. The top seed this season, the East Carolina Pirates, back in November swam a 1:27.79. Tristan Taylor, Jacek Arentevich, Gustavo Santos, and Gavin Erdman. And here come our finalists. We'll turn it over to the public address.
Our final event of the evening, this is the men's 200-yard medley relay. In lane number 3, University of Cincinnati, Blake Hanna. In lane number 4, your defending champion, East Carolina University, Tristan Taylor. In lane number 5, University of Connecticut, William Kersey. And in lane 6, SMU, Earl Kilbride. Men's 200-yard medley relay.
Will Kersey for UConn swimming the opening leg. It's almost unfair how fast Will Kersey is. And by the way, given where the conference championship meet record is, ECU definitely has the capability of shaving off a full second and breaking the AAC record. So we'll see what our teams do here tonight. But your favorite in the race, probably in lane 4, East Carolina.
Getting ready for the start here.
And they're off. Blake Hanna, Tristan Taylor, William Kersey, and Earl Kilbride. Kersey loves the backstroke. One of the best backstrokers in UConn history.
Yeah, and one of the best backstrokers in the country, period, right now. And you can see why. Half a body length lead right off the bat, really setting up his team well.
Well, he puts Marcus Hunter in a good spot as he gets into the pool well out in front, but a beautiful underwater move by Jacek Arantevich. He's got the breaststroke going for ECU, and he's pulled them into first place at the moment.
Yeah, Jacek had an unbelievable start and pullout. You can see how he's gaining ground underwater on these folks.
Dominic Poling and Aiden Lewis trying to keep it tight in lanes 3 and 6. Everybody's awfully close. In fact, UConn has fallen all the way to 4th. It's Alberto Garcia, Gustavo Santos, Cooper Knapp, and Zyman Golchik with the butterfly.
Yeah, man, right now it looks like ECU is taking...
And SMU, then Cincinnati, then UConn. Here they come, final stretch.
Yes.
Kevin Erdman for ECU. Ralph Koo keeping it close for SMU. It's lane 4 and lane 6. East Carolina, then SMU. Cincinnati's Kevin McCaffrey trying to keep it tight. East Carolina wins, and with 126.19, they break the AAC record by .02.
What an awesome relay. Bringing it home nice. 1947 for East Carolina. Gavin bringing that home.
0.02 of a second, the fastest time now in the 6 years of conference competition, and the Pirates are fired up.
And rightfully so. You know, Santos was a little bit long into that finish, but Erdman really did a nice job picking up that exchange and brought it home in the fastest split of the night.
SMU finishes in second place, out-touching Cincinnati. And then UConn finished in last, which I don't know if we expected after the way Will Kersey had UConn in first place after the first leg.
Yeah, you know, that first leg was really impressive, but you know that's the nature of this race. Is it takes 4 guys, and they all 4 have to be on. And if you're a little bit off, even if you're leaving a little bit of time on the block, you know, with safer exchanges or whatever the case may be, not picking them up right, you know, that could be huge. And so, you know, really, really nice job out of SMU in lane 6. You know, seeded 4th going into it, getting 2nd. Really impressive stuff there out of lane 6.
So the second time tonight that we've seen a conference championship record established. And the Pirates still enjoying themselves as they should. I think East Carolina's had a really good night. And even though UConn lost that race, they probably still feel like they're in good shape, because coming into these final couple of relays, the Huskies in general looked pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. And they had a couple divers in the diving event as well score. So, you know, when you're looking at this as a total team effort, you're really looking at how many guys are we putting up in the top 8, how many guys are we scoring in diving, and those sorts of things. So, you know, yes, the winning races is important, and that scores the most points, but you have to look at everything as a whole. And you know, this does set them back just a smidge, but they have a lot of horses in races, and they've got plenty of guns to come fighting back.
Definitely depth is important. I think that's the one thing a lot of people who are maybe only casual swimming fans don't realize. If you have a couple of superstar swimmers, you're probably going to win a lot of dual meets.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to win conference championships or national championships, you have to have depth.
Yeah, depth is everything in a meet just like this, because so many kids score, and so many there's so many more opportunities. So, you know, you can be really, really good on the top end, And if you don't have those consolation finalists or, those bottom half A finalists backing you up, then you're really going to fall off pretty heavily. So, in a dual meet, if you win a race, you win the event. In a championship style race, if you win a race, you just get 20 points. And then if you go second, third, fourth, you triple their score. So, it's one of those things that depth is really critical.
Well, UConn on the ladies' side has to be pretty happy with the way things have gone so far. Updated team scores through 5 events. UConn at 175. They're 15 points up on Cincinnati at 160. SMU 157, just a tick back in third. Then East Carolina at 140. And even though Houston won both of the relays tonight, it was their depth that hurt them a little bit. They are in 5th place so far this evening. On the men's side, we are still waiting for the official team scores to come in from the relay, but we will probably see UConn still in pretty good shape atop the team standings.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is day one of a 5-session, 3-day meet. So as exciting as this was, they got to come back tomorrow, put it down at prelims, but off to a great start.
Our finals coverage tomorrow will begin at 6 o'clock, whereas we started at 5 o'clock today. We will begin at 6 o'clock on Friday and 5 o'clock on Saturday. But, of course, we're streaming live our coverage of prelims as well. Now, Joel and I won't be here until the final session, but we will at least have a camera. So if you're interested in watching, and we'll have the public address feed piped in as well for both the swimming and diving events. As the East Carolina Pirates are recognized atop the podium and the ECU fight song plays in the natatorium.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with the ECU Pirates. Their team spirit, their presence on the pool deck has been great.
And ECU taking down the record set 2014 by Louisville by 2/100ths of a second, but it's a new meet record time, 1:26.19. How about another round of applause for your top 3 relay teams and your 2-time defending champion and meet record holder, East Carolina University. Congratulations, gentlemen.
So ECU goes back-to-back, and they win their 3rd title in this event in 6 years, and it's only the 2nd time that a championship record has been established sub 127 in the men's 200-yard medley relay. We've got the whole team walking over to join Vince Egan as well. And we will have one time trial in the pool in the meantime. So you might see some of the action from that time trial in the background. One of the young men from SMU going to swim a time trial. All right, let's go down to Vince Egan, who's with the new conference record holders.
Gavin, we have to talk about this new record, AAC record. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was the, especially when you got in, how were you feeling?
When I got in, I was feeling pretty good. I had a good enough lead off from our flyer, Gustavo. He really brought it home on the last 15 yards, so it was really adrenaline rush to see him pull ahead, and that just gave me what I needed to go, my 19.4. So all in all, we all did really good. We had a good backstroke leg by Tristan, great breaststroke leg by Jacek, and it just all fell into the right place.
Gustavo, what were you feeling out there?
I felt great. I feel like we're ready to the rest of the meet. Just give confidence to the rest of the team and to our next races.
New record for you guys. How are you? I mean, has that sunk in yet?
No, not really.
And the AAC?
Not at all, not yet. It was a surprise to me when I heard about it. Our teammates said, "Hey, nice meet record." I was like, "Wait, what do you mean?" Because it just didn't set in until they actually said it to me.
That's awesome. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
So East Carolina defends their championship, and they split the men's relays tonight after the Cincinnati Bearcats took the first relay of the night. You could see a little bit of the time trial there from Gabriel Kennedy from SMU. He swam a 51.58 in his 100-yard freestyle. Joel, you're totally done? All right, well, that'll conclude our coverage here on day one of the 2019 championships. A good day for the Houston Cougars, a good day for SMU. They won both diving events. Houston took both ladies relays. And Joel, some really exciting relay races.
Yeah, Brendan, you know, what a great way to kick off this championship. It'll be really interesting to see tomorrow how everybody responds and as we go forward. So, you know, as we go, it'll be a great thing to watch.
Our coverage continues tomorrow morning with prelims. We'll be back 6 o'clock tomorrow night with the championships. For Vince Egan and for Joel Elber, I'm Brendan Gulick. See you tomorrow from the IU Natatorium.